My mother didn't hug me when I arrived home 2 nights before Christmas. She opened the front door, grabbed the handle of my suitcase, rolled it into the hallway, and said, "Good, you're finally here. Your sister left the kids' schedule on the refrigerator." I had been traveling for 11 hours from Seattle to Tampa after a delayed connection in Dallas. My back hurt. My coat still smelled like airport coffee. I was carrying nearly $900 in Christmas gifts because my mother had spent the previous month reminding me that the kids have had such a hard year. I stared at her. "What kid's schedule?" Before she could answer, my younger sister, Megan, appeared behind her wearing white jeans, a tan sweater, and the kind of makeup people do when they are about to be photographed somewhere expensive. 3 children exploded around her legs. Caleb was 8. Sophie was 5. Noah was 2 and wearing 1 boot. Megan smiled at them and announced, "Guess what, guys? Aunt Rachel is your Christmas babysitter." The kids cheered. My mother laughed. I did not. Megan shoved a canvas diaper bag toward my chest. "Noah's antibiotics are in the side pocket. Sophie still wakes up sometimes. Caleb knows the Wi-Fi password. Honestly, they're easy." "Easy for what?" Megan rolled her eyes. "Rachel, where are you going?" My mother's expression changed just slightly. Not guilt, irritation that I was making her explain a decision everyone else had already accepted. "Your father and I are taking Megan and Derek away for a few days." "Where?" Megan said. "Savannah." My stomach went cold. "Savannah?" "Yes." "The riverfront Christmas package?" My mother froze. Megan looked at her. "How does she know?" I laughed once, quietly. "Because the reservation hit my credit card 3 weeks ago." Nobody spoke. My mother recovered first. "Rachel, please don't start the minute you walk in." "I'm not starting anything." I looked at Megan. "You're leaving your 3 children here with me for 4 nights? 5. 5? We're back the 27th. Christmas is on the 25th. She smiled as though explaining something to a slow coworker. "Exactly. You'll do Christmas with them. We'll FaceTime." I stared at my family standing inside the house. I had quietly helped keep out of foreclosure twice, surrounded by children whose school clothes I had paid for in September, beneath a staircase decorated with garland, purchased on an emergency credit card I had opened, because Mom said she couldn't afford Christmas last year. And in one clean moment, something in me stopped trying to make their behavior reasonable. "You really should check your email," I said. Mom narrowed her eyes. "Why?" "Because you're not going to Savannah." Megan actually laughed. "Rachel, the car service is coming in 40 minutes. Then you should cancel it." "Why?" "I canceled the hotel yesterday." Her smile disappeared. "What?" "And the dinner package." Mom stepped toward me. "Rachel, and the holiday trolley reservations." Megan grabbed her phone. "No, you didn't. And because the train tickets were purchased using points from my travel account, those are back in my account too." Her fingers began moving faster across the screen. Dad appeared from the kitchen carrying a travel mug. "What's going on?" Megan looked up, white-faced. "She canceled everything." Dad's expression hardened immediately. "Why would you do that?" I looked at him. "Why would you book a 5-night Christmas vacation using my card and leave 3 children with me without asking?" "It wasn't like that," Mom said. "What was it like?" "You're single." There it was. Not even 30 seconds into the explanation. And you work remotely most of the week." "I'm a senior project director for an architecture firm." "I know what you do." "Do you?" Megan snapped. "Oh my God. Nobody said your job isn't real. You just built your childcare plan around the assumption I can skip 5 days of it. It's Christmas week. My office is open. You're always saying you have flexibility." "Flexibility means I can take a meeting from my apartment instead of a conference room. It does not mean I become a free mother of 3 when you want cocktails by the river." Megan's face twisted. "You don't have to make it sound trashy." "I didn't say trashy. You're judging me." "No, I'm asking why your vacation requires my money, my time, my hotel points, and my consent being completely optional." Mom folded her arms. Family helps family. I looked at her. Funny. I only ever hear that sentence when I'm the family member helping. Dad put down his mug harder than necessary. Enough. You just got here. Don't ruin Christmas. I almost smiled. I haven't even gotten through the door. That was the truth. My suitcase was still 3 feet behind me. I had not taken off my coat. I had not received one hug. I had not been asked how the trip was. I had been home for less than 6 minutes, and already the whole family was angry because their unpaid nanny had discovered the assignment before clocking in. Caleb looked between us. Are we still having Christmas, Aunt Rachel? That question hurt because none of this was his fault. I crouched. Yes, buddy, you are absolutely having Christmas, Megan said. See? She'll do it. I stood. No, I said the children are having Christmas. I did not say you're leaving them with me. Then who's watching them? Their mother. Her mouth fell open. Rachel. Or their father. Derek had not appeared yet. He was apparently still upstairs packing for a vacation he believed someone else was financing. You know Derek only gets so much vacation time. Then what a beautiful opportunity for him to spend it with his children. Mom hissed, "You're being cruel." I looked at her. Cruel would have been canceling it while you were already in Savannah. I canceled before you left. Dad said, "You had no right. It was my card. You agreed to let us use it for emergencies." Is the Champagne riverboat cruise an emergency? Silence. Megan looked toward Mom. You charged that to her card? Mom snapped. You knew we were using the family card. I almost laughed. Family card. It was a Chase card in my name, with a limit I had increased, because 2 years earlier, Mom needed a new air conditioning unit during a Florida heat wave. I had mailed her the card for 1 week. She never mailed it back. Eventually, she said keeping it made sense, in case something happened. Something apparently included grocery bills, utility gaps, school shoes, prescription copays, lawn repairs, a dishwasher, 2 tires for Megan's SUV, a last-minute birthday party, Christmas presents, and now a 5-night vacation I had not been invited on. It isn't a family card, I said. It's my card. Mom's face hardened. After everything we did for you. There it was. The emergency lever. I was 34 years old, and those 6 words could still make me feel 12. After everything we did for you. The roof, the food, the school clothes. Childhood necessities transformed into permanent debt. Mom, I got off a plane 10 minutes ago, and immediately started attacking us. You handed me children, your nieces and nephew. They're not luggage. Megan threw up her hands. What do you want, Rachel? A formal invitation? A permission slip? Fine. Will you please watch your nieces and nephew while your exhausted sister takes one trip? No. She stared. What? No. You're serious. Completely. The toddler started crying because everyone was loud. Megan picked him up and bounced him angrily. This is exactly why you don't understand. You come home twice a year, throw money at things, and act like that makes you some expert. You have no idea what being responsible for 3 kids is like. I felt something inside me become very still. You're right. Her eyebrows lifted. I don't. Exactly. Which is why it was strange that you planned to make me responsible for 3 kids for 5 days. Dad muttered. She has you there. Mom shot him a look. Don't encourage this. That sentence told me more than she intended. I was not supposed to make a valid point. I was supposed to return to my assigned place. Responsible eldest daughter. Successful one. Single one. Childless one. Flexible one. The person whose empty calendar was apparently public property. I reached for my suitcase. I'm going to my hotel. Mom blinked. Hotel? Yes. You're staying here. Apparently I'm not. Rachel, stop performing. I booked it 3 nights ago. Megan frowned. Why would you book a hotel when you have a room here? Because I had already suspected something. Because 2 weeks earlier, Mom had accidentally texted me a screenshot from the Savannah hotel instead of sending it to Megan. Because I had seen Rachel arrives 12/23 written at the top of their shared itinerary, followed by kids stay home with R. Because when I asked what that meant, Mom replied, Christmas planning, don't worry about it, then deleted the message. Because after 34 years in this family, I had finally learned that when my mother said don't worry about it, I should immediately worry about it. I wanted my own space. Dad laughed bitterly. There she goes. Miss Seattle is too good for the house now. I helped pay for the new roof on this house. Nobody asked you to. The sentence hit so hard I almost stopped breathing. Nobody asked you to. He said it casually, forgetting the night he had called me at 1:14 a.m., saying the insurance deductible was impossible and rain was coming through the guest room ceiling. Forgetting I had transferred $11,000 before breakfast. Forgetting Mom had cried and called me our lifesaver. When help is needed, your sacrifice is sacred. When you mention the sacrifice, apparently nobody asked. Okay, I said. Dad frowned. Okay, what? Nothing. I rolled my suitcase backward. Mom stepped into my path. You're not leaving. We need to talk. We have talked. No, you threw a tantrum. I canceled charges on my own card and declined childcare I was never asked to provide. Listen to yourself. I finally am. I moved around her. Megan said, So you're just going to leave us like this? I looked at the 3 children. Caleb was watching too closely. Sophie had started quietly taking off her winter hat. Noah had his thumb in his mouth. I'm leaving adults with their own children in their own home. Same thing, she said. That sentence was the problem. To them, apparently it was the same thing. I walked to the rental car. Mom followed me onto the driveway. Rachel! I opened the trunk. What? You are going to regret humiliating us over money. I'm not humiliated. We are. Why? Because we told people we were going, then tell people plans changed. Your sister posted pictures already. I had seen them. Matching white sweaters. Caption. Christmas magic loading. Family getaway with my favorite people. Favorite people apparently did not include the woman paying for it. Delete them. Mom stared at me as if I had become unrecognizable. You've changed. I put my suitcase into the trunk. I hope so. The hotel was 12 minutes away, a basic airport Marriott I had chosen because it was available and because I was done spending money trying to impress anybody. I checked in, showered, ordered a sandwich, and sat on the bed with my laptop open while my phone filled with messages. Mom, your father is furious. Megan, the kids are devastated. Dad, fix this before you make it worse. Mom again. We would never do this to you. That one almost made me laugh. Then the family group chat started. Aunt Carol. Heard there's some Christmas drama. Please remember family matters more than money. Cousin Brittany. Trips can be rescheduled. Relationships are harder. Uncle Steve. Your mom sounds really upset. Not one person asked why I had canceled anything. Nobody asked whether I had agreed to pay. My mother had gotten to them first. That was her gift. She could turn any boundary into a character flaw before you finished stating it. I placed the phone face down and opened my banking spreadsheet. I had built it 3 months earlier after my therapist asked a question that embarrassed me. How much financial support do you provide your family? I said, Not that much. She asked for a number. I did not know. She said, Find out. I did. Over 38 months, I had transferred or directly paid $86,740 for my parents and Megan, not including gifts, not including flights home, not including meals, hotel rooms, or vacations where I quietly paid more because Rachel earns the most. $86,740. I had stared at the total for almost an hour. Then I looked around my Seattle apartment. 1 bedroom. Rented. Furniture from Facebook Marketplace and IKEA. My dining table doubled as a home office. I had been earning a strong salary for years and still felt anxious buying a new winter coat because my family always seemed one emergency away from losing something. Meanwhile, Megan had new nails every 2 weeks, a leased 3-row SUV, a renovated kitchen she posted constantly, and 3 streaming subscriptions I was paying for because she said canceling them would punish the kids. My parents lived in the same four-bedroom house they had bought 18 years earlier, but after Dad retired early from municipal maintenance due to a back injury, their finances deteriorated. Mom worked part-time at a dental office. Dad received a pension. They were not destitute. They were simply accustomed to spending, as though my income were part of theirs. At first, helping felt good. I had been the first person in my family to finish college, then graduate school, then move across the country. Mom told everyone I was our success story. I mistook pride for support. When I received my first significant bonus, I paid off their credit card. When Megan's husband Derek lost his job for 6 months, I covered childcare. When Dad needed dental work, I paid. When the air conditioner died, I paid. When Megan's landlord increased rent, I covered the difference until they found another place. Then they never found another place, and the temporary help became monthly. Eventually, Megan and Derek moved into my parents' house for 6 months. 4 years later, they were still there with 3 children. Nobody paid formal rent. They helped with groceries when possible. I covered the mortgage shortfall because Mom said she could not ask her grandchildren to risk instability. The arrangement had become so normal that at Thanksgiving the previous year, Dad had raised a glass and said, "We are especially thankful for Rachel, our family's little emergency fund." Everyone laughed. I laughed too. Then Megan said, "Seriously though, don't ever get married. We can't afford to lose you." More laughter. I remember smiling while something small inside me broke. That Thanksgiving, I had flown home after working 60 hours that week. Mom met me at the airport complaining that I had booked a late flight. I cooked 2 side dishes because Megan was overwhelmed. I watched the kids Friday while Megan shopped. I paid for the turkey after Mom said grocery prices were insane. Sunday, when the family took a staircase photo, Megan posted it with the caption, "My whole world." I was not in it. I had been in the kitchen washing dishes when they took it. When I commented, "Nice family pic," Megan replied, "You hate photos anyway." I did not hate photos. I hated learning afterward that nobody had noticed I was missing. That evening, I drove to the airport and promised myself next year would be different. Then all year I continued sending money. That is how patterns work. Understanding them does not automatically free you from them. You can have vocabulary and still answer the phone. In March, Mom called because the property tax escrow had changed. I transferred $4,000. In April, Megan needed summer camp deposits. $2,000. June, Dad's truck repair. $1,700. August, school clothes. $1,200. September, Mom's dental crown. $900. October, HOA assessment. $2,800. November, Thanksgiving groceries. $700. Then in December, Savannah. My card statement showed $6,480 spread across hotel, train tickets, spa reservations, restaurant deposits, and tourist packages. Not one person had asked me. That was the first time I canceled something before paying it. Once I started, I kept going. Sitting alone in that hotel room 2 nights before Christmas, I removed the family card from Mom's digital wallet. I removed it from Megan's. I changed the account password. I canceled every autopay that belonged to their household. Mortgage contribution, electricity contribution, internet, Megan's car insurance, her phone, 2 school activity payments. Not immediately cut off, I scheduled everything through the end of January because the children deserved time for adults to adjust. Then I sent one email to Mom, Dad, Megan, and Derek. Subject: Financial changes starting February 1. It was not angry. I had rewritten it 6 times with my therapist before flying home. Beginning February 1, I will no longer pay recurring household or personal expenses for any adult family member. This includes mortgage assistance, utilities, vehicle costs, insurance, phones, subscriptions, childcare, groceries, travel, and credit card charges. I will continue paying the children's health insurance supplemental premiums through June because those were commitments I made directly for them. After June, Megan and Derek will need to make other arrangements. I am not asking anyone to repay me. I am not discussing past support. I am simply ending future financial support. Please make whatever budgeting, employment, housing, or lifestyle changes are necessary. I love you. This decision is final. I hit send. Then I turned my phone off. Christmas Eve morning, I woke after 8 hours of sleep. That alone felt revolutionary. When I turned my phone on, there were 46 missed calls. Mom had sent messages from 2:07 a.m. You are seriously doing this at Christmas? 2:19. Your father cannot sleep. 2:44. Megan is crying. 3:03. I don't know who you are anymore. 3:16. We supported you through college. This was false. I had scholarships, loans, and 2 campus jobs, but facts had become secondary. 3:40. Fine. If money matters more than family, enjoy your hotel. Megan's messages were more direct. You cannot just cut us off. The kids' preschool comes out of that account. You know Derek's hours got reduced. What are we supposed to do? You make $180K, Rachel. This is nothing to you. There it was. Nothing to me. I looked around my hotel room. My salary was not nothing. My weekends were not nothing. My future was not nothing. My peace was not nothing. Success did not make other people's wants cheaper. I showered, bought coffee, and drove to my friend Danielle's house. Danielle and I had been best friends since 8th grade. She lived 30 minutes from my parents with her wife, Marissa, and their 6-year-old twins. I had not told my family I was going there. Danielle opened the door and said, "You look 10 pounds lighter." I have not eaten enough to lose 10 pounds. Emotional weight. Very annoying. She hugged me. That was my first hug since arriving in Florida. I cried immediately. "Oh," she said. "Okay, come in." I spent Christmas Eve baking cookies with the twins, drinking wine after they went to bed, and telling Danielle everything. When I reached the Savannah ambush, she stared at me. They seriously had their luggage by the door? Yep. 3 kids? Yep. No warning? Nope. And they used your card? Correct. Danielle leaned back. I need you to hear this from someone who has known your family 20 years. This is insane. Thank you. No. Because you do that thing where you make their behavior sound reasonable halfway through the story. I do not. She stared. You literally said, "To be fair, Megan is tired," after telling me she planned to leave a toddler with you for Christmas. She is tired. Rachel. Right. Danielle had seen the pattern longer than I had. In high school, I worked at a frozen yogurt shop and a movie theater. Mom took part of every paycheck as house contribution. I thought everyone did that. Danielle later told me her parents had been horrified. When I was 17, Mom borrowed $800 from my college savings to replace the family television after Dad's broke during football season. We'll put it back. They never did. When I got into the University of Washington with a strong scholarship, Mom cried because Seattle was too far, then told everyone she had sacrificed everything to send me there. They sent me $200 once during freshman year. I sent them money by junior year. The transformation from daughter to resource had been slow enough that it felt like maturity. I was responsible, successful, generous. They were proud. Until generosity developed boundaries. Christmas morning, I woke on Danielle's guest room sofa to a text from Caleb. He had used Mom's iPad. "Aunt Rachel, are you coming for presents?" My chest hurt. I replied, "Yes. I'll be there at 10. He sent 5 snowman emojis. Danielle said, "You sure? The kids did nothing wrong." "Correct. But you also don't have to save the holiday." "I know. Do you?" "Probably not." I arrived at my parents' house at 10:08 with gifts. No hotel luggage by the door now. No matching travel outfits. Everyone was in pajamas. The mood felt like somebody had died. Caleb ran toward me first. Sophie followed. Noah shouted my name badly and grabbed my leg. I hugged them. "Merry Christmas." Megan stood near the tree with crossed arms. "Nice of you to show up." "Merry Christmas, Megan." Mom did not look at me. Dad sat in his recliner staring at television that was not turned on. Derek hovered near the kitchen, wisely staying out of direct conflict. I sat with the kids. We opened presents. Caleb got a beginner telescope. Sophie got an art set. Noah got wooden trains. Their excitement temporarily changed the room. Then Sophie held up a gift from Santa, a tablet. I recognized the charge from my account. Mom saw my face. Don't. I said nothing. That seemed to bother her more. After gifts, Megan told the kids to play outside. Can we talk now? She asked. Sure. We sat at the dining table. Mom immediately placed my email in front of me, printed, highlighted, annotated. This cannot happen February 1st. It can. We need more time. You have 5 weeks. That is not enough. Then start today, Dad said. You really think I can just make more money with my back? No. So what exactly do you expect? A budget. Mom made a disgusted sound. We have a budget. No, you have spending and then me. That is insulting. Is it inaccurate? Nobody answered. Derek finally sat. How much do you actually pay? Megan shot him a look. Not now. I want to know. I opened my laptop because I had brought it for this exact reason. Average over the last year? Around $2,700 a month directly, not counting irregular expenses. Derek stared at Megan. What? Rachel exaggerates. I turned the screen. Mortgage contribution. $1,100. Utilities, internet. Average $460. Megan's vehicle, insurance, $610. Phone plan share, $220. Grocery transfers, average $350. Random child expenses and subscriptions varied. Derek looked sick. Why didn't I know? Because you knew enough not to ask. Megan snapped. That's not fair. You liked the help too. Yeah, but I thought your parents were covering more. Mom said, we all contribute. I asked, how much do Megan and Derek pay toward housing? Silence. Derek looked at the table. We cover groceries sometimes. How much? I don't know. Megan snapped. Why is this an interrogation? Because everyone keeps saying I'm destroying a system nobody can describe. Dad pushed the papers away. We raised 2 daughters. Now we need help. That's life. You are 63, Dad. And disabled. You receive disability and a city pension. Not enough. Then the house is too expensive, Mom gasped. This is our home. Then something else is too expensive. What do you want us to give up? I looked around. The premium cable package? Mom scoffed. That saves what? $100? The leased SUV? Megan's eyes flashed. The kids need the car. They need a car. They don't need a $742 payment. It's safe. Used Hondas are safe. You drive a Volvo. There it was. I pay for my Volvo. Because you can afford it. Exactly. So, why shouldn't your nieces and nephew have the same safety? I stared at her. Because my paycheck is not a family inheritance, Mom said. Nobody called it that. You booked a vacation on my card without asking. We were going to pay part of it. How much? Silence. Exactly. Mom began crying. I cannot believe you are doing this when your father is struggling and your sister has 3 children. I have believed that sentence for years. What sentence? That everyone's needs become my responsibility if their life is harder than mine. Your life is easy. The words came from Dad. Calm. Certain. You have a career. No kids. No health problems. Nice apartment. You travel. Your mother and I gave you the foundation for all of that. You should want to give back. That one hurt because part of it was true. My life was easier in some ways. I had money, health, freedom. But ease is not emptiness. Dad, my life being good does not make it available for redistribution. Megan laughed bitterly. Listen to you. You sound like a corporate memo. I've learned clarity helps. No, you've learned money makes you powerful. I closed the laptop. Then let me remove the money, and we'll see what relationship is left. The room went silent. Mom whispered, "What is that supposed to mean?" "It means I am not asking any of you to love me less. I am asking you to need my bank account less. Your reaction will tell me whether those were ever separate things." Megan began crying. Real tears. Exhausted tears. "You think I don't love you? I think you love me." "Then why say that?" "Because you also use me." She flinched. "That's cruel. You handed me your children with no warning and called it Christmas because you're their aunt. And what are you?" "Their mother." "Exactly." She put both hands over her face. Derek stared at her. Mom said, "This is going nowhere." I stood. "Then I'm going back to Danielle's." Dad's jaw tightened. "Not your hotel?" "Checked out." "So you'll stay with friends, but not us?" "Yes." "That tells me everything." "Good." I looked at the kids through the glass door. Caleb was trying to use the telescope in full daylight. "I'll call the kids tomorrow." Megan said, "Don't." I turned. "What?" "You don't get to punish me, and then play fun aunt." There it was. Access used as retaliation. "Okay." Her face changed because she expected me to beg. "Okay, you're their parent. If you decide I can't talk to them, I'll respect it." "You don't care?" "I care enough not to use them in this fight." She started crying harder. I left. For 3 days, nobody contacted me except Mom's relatives. The family narrative spread fast. Rachel canceled her parents' Christmas gift. Rachel abandoned her sister. Rachel is punishing everyone because they asked for one favor. My Aunt Melissa called and said, "I just don't understand why you couldn't watch the kids. You're good with them. Were you available?" Silence. "What? You live 20 minutes away. Why didn't they ask you?" "I have my own family." "So do I. You know what I mean." "I do. That's the problem." She changed subjects quickly. By December 29th, I was back in Seattle. I unlocked my apartment and felt a relief so physical I had to sit on the floor. Everything was exactly where I left it. No one had entered. No one had charged anything. No children needed snacks. No adults needed money. My own life waited without accusation. January became the month my family discovered bills had due dates independent of my guilt. Mom called on January 5th. "The mortgage is coming out next week." "Okay. Your contribution usually arrives first." "Not anymore." "Rachel, did you read the email?" "Yes." "Then why are we doing this?" "Because I thought after Christmas you'd calm down." I was calm when I wrote it. Nobody makes decisions like this while calm. Apparently I do. "We cannot cover the full payment." "Then call the lender and discuss options." "You do it." "No." Silence. "You're serious?" "Yes." "What am I supposed to say?" "The truth." "Which is, that your household income no longer includes monthly transfers from your daughter." She hung up. January 7th, Megan called. "My car payment." "What about it?" "It's due." "Okay. I thought you said February." "I paid through January." "Insurance?" "Also through January." "Then February I'm just supposed to magically have 1,300 extra dollars? Or change the car?" I'm upside down on it. "Then talk to the lender or dealership. You know this stuff better." "Probably." "Can you help me?" There was the question I had rarely heard. Can you help me? Not do this. Not I need. Not send money. I can explain options. Will you pay anything? No. Silence. Then forget it. She hung up. 10 minutes later she called again. "Fine. Explain." That was the beginning of something. We spent 40 minutes discussing numbers, not solving them. Looking at them. Derek's income, her expenses, the SUV, food, childcare. I asked why she was not working. Daycare would eat my whole paycheck. All 3 children? Caleb is in school. Sophie starts kindergarten next year. Noah still needs full-time care. So maybe evenings? Derek works evenings sometimes. Weekends? Then when would we be a family? I paused. That's a real question. She was quiet. I'm tired, Rachel. I know. I didn't plan to be 31 living with mom and dad. I know. Every year I think we're almost out. I know. Then something happens. Something always happens. She started crying. I hate when you say it like that. Like what? Like I have choices. I sat back. You do. Not good ones. That's different. Silence. I think I've been waiting for life to get easier before changing anything. Probably. And you made it easy enough to keep waiting. That hurt because it was true in both directions. Yeah. I'm sorry. Me too. For what? For helping in ways that made it harder for you to see what you could actually afford. That sounds like therapy. Very expensive therapy. She laughed. It was the first laugh between us since Christmas. Megan found a part-time receptionist job at a pediatric dental office 3 weeks later, 2 evenings and Saturdays. Not glamorous, not enough to change everything. Enough to start. Derek sold the SUV. They bought a used minivan with a payment less than half. Megan sent me a picture. Ugly as sin, I replied. Character building. She sent a middle finger emoji. Progress. My parents changed slower. Mom kept expecting a reversal. Every call contained a small test. Your father's prescription went up. That's frustrating. Silence. The electric bill was terrible. Florida winter? Apparently. That sucks. She wanted the old Rachel. How much do you need? I stopped supplying the line. Dad refused to speak to me for 7 weeks. When he finally called, he said, "You happy?" "About what?" "Watching your mother panic." "No, then why keep this up?" "Because support that requires me to remain afraid of your panic isn't support," he snorted. "You always did like words. You always did avoid numbers." Silence. What's that supposed to mean? It means you retired without adjusting the household budget because I was covering the difference. My back is destroyed because I worked my whole life for this family. I know. Then show some gratitude. I am grateful. Not enough to help. I helped for years. Past tense. Yes, that word ended the call. In February, they listed the house. Mom told everyone I had forced them. I did not defend myself. The house sold faster than expected because the neighborhood was popular. After paying what remained, my parents had enough equity to buy a smaller 2-bedroom villa in a 55-plus community farther inland with a manageable payment. Mom cried for weeks. She posted old pictures captioned, "Saying goodbye to the home where we raised our girls because life changes even when our hearts aren't ready." Relatives commented hearts. Nobody mentioned that Megan, Derek, and 3 children had lived there free for 4 years while I subsidized the payment. I almost commented. Did not. Mom's grief was still grief even if her storytelling annoyed me. She had loved that house. Selling it was a consequence, and also a loss. Both can be true. Megan and Derek moved into a 2-bedroom apartment near Caleb's school. Tight. Noah slept in their room for 6 months. Sophie and Caleb shared. They survived. More than survived. Without my money, they became more honest with each other. Derek picked up weekend work. Megan kept her dental office job, then increased hours when Sophie started kindergarten. They created a budget for the first time. It's depressing, Megan told me, but weirdly less scary. Why? Because when I actually know what we have, I don't spend the whole month waiting for disaster. That's usually how budgets work. Shut up. We started talking weekly. Not because she needed money. Sometimes she did ask for advice. The difference was she accepted no. That changed everything. The kids eventually started calling me again too. Megan never formally apologized for using access to punish me. One afternoon she said, "I shouldn't have kept them from you." No. I was angry. I know. It was wrong. Thank you. Then Caleb asked me whether Seattle had hurricanes, and the conversation moved on. Not every apology needs an hour-long ceremony. March brought the hardest test. Sophie broke her arm falling from playground equipment. Megan called from urgent care, crying, "Insurance deductible is $800. Every old reflex exploded awake. "Send the money. Fix it. Child hurt. Sisters scared. Family. I opened my banking app automatically, then stopped. Do you need the treatment now? Obviously. Then get it. We don't have 800. Will they treat her without full payment? They said yes, and bill us. Then do that, Rachel. I'm not letting Sophie go without care. Then help. Treatment is happening. The bill is yours. She went silent. I felt horrible. I love her. I know. I love you. I know. I'm not paying the bill, Megan cried. Okay. They set up a payment plan. Sophie healed. The world did not end. That incident changed me more than any spreadsheet. I had always believed saying no during a genuine problem made me cruel, but emergencies do not erase ownership. Compassion can exist without transfer. You can sit with someone while they solve a problem, instead of taking the problem out of their hands. In May, my parents invited me to see the new villa. I almost declined. My therapist asked why. Dad still hasn't apologized. Is an apology required for you to visit? I don't know. Then decide based on what you want, not what he owes. Annoying woman. I flew down for a weekend. My own ticket. My own hotel. Rental car. No surprise childcare. Mom hugged me when she saw me. A real hug. Then said, "You're too thin." Progress has limits. The villa was small and bright with a screened lanai facing a pond. Dad had set up a workshop in the garage. Mom's furniture barely fit. We had to sell half our things, she said. I know. You could have helped us keep the house. There it was. I took a breath. Do you want me to leave? She looked shocked. No. Then don't turn every new beginning into a trial about the old house. She opened her mouth, closed it. Okay. That was new. Dad stayed distant until dinner. We ate at a casual seafood restaurant. He barely spoke. Then after Mom went to the restroom, he said, I was embarrassed. I looked at him. About what? You paying things. You never seemed embarrassed. That's because embarrassment becomes anger pretty fast. Honest. Why were you angry at me? Because you could do what I couldn't. Help? Leave. I stared. Dad looked toward the window. I hated my job by the end. My back hurt all the time. Your mother worried about money constantly. Megan came home with those kids, and Derek's job problems. And there you were in Seattle, getting promoted, traveling, sending money like everything was easy. It wasn't easy. I know that now. You knew then. Not really. Dad. He rubbed his hand over his face. I think I needed your life to be easy because then taking help from you didn't feel so bad. There it was. So when you canceled Savannah, I felt like you were rubbing it in my face that you controlled things. I didn't control your vacation. I stopped financing it. I know. Now. Now. Silence. I should not have told you that we raised you like you owed us. No, I'm sorry. I had waited months for those words, and discovered they did not feel like fireworks. They felt like a knot loosening one turn. Thank you. I'm not apologizing for needing help sometimes. You don't have to. I'm apologizing for acting like needing it gave me a right to yours. My eyes filled. That's the whole thing. Yeah, Mom returned. Why are both of you crying? Dad said. Old people. Rachel is 34. Old enough. We laughed. It was not fixed, but something was different. Summer arrived. For the first time since graduate school, I took a vacation that had nothing to do with family. Portugal with Danielle and Marissa. 10 days. I booked premium economy and did not downgrade myself because anyone needed a minivan tire. I ate food I could not pronounce, sat beside the ocean, and spent one entire afternoon doing nothing. Mom texted, "Must be nice." Old trigger. My chest tightened. I almost defended the trip. I almost explained I used points and booked months ahead. Instead I wrote, "It really is." 3 dots appeared, disappeared. She replied, "Send pictures." I did. That was growth for both of us. In October, Megan surprised me by calling about Thanksgiving. Mom wants everyone at the villa. Okay. There's no room. Sounds like Mom. Derek and I are getting an Airbnb. Good. Can you split it? I waited. She laughed. Kidding. Too soon? Way too soon. Okay, fair. Then she became serious. Are you coming? Probably. No babysitting ambush. That does improve the offer. Rachel, yes, I'm coming. Thanksgiving at the villa was crowded and imperfect. Mom rented folding tables. Megan made stuffing. Dad smoked a turkey and overcooked it. I paid for nothing except the wine I brought. Nobody asked. That felt stranger than being asked. After dinner, Mom wanted a family picture outside. We arranged ourselves near the pond. Megan called the kids. Dad stood beside Mom. Derek beside Megan. I instinctively stepped backward to take the photo. Mom said, "Where are you going?" "I'll take it." "No." She handed her phone to a neighbor. "Get in." I did. It was such a tiny thing. Get in. The photograph later appeared on Mom's Facebook. Caption: Grateful for every person at this table and everything this year taught us about loving each other better. No vague attack. No martyrdom. No mention of the old house. I cried when I saw it. Then laughed at myself for crying over a Facebook post from a 64-year-old woman who still shared conspiracy posts about seed oils. Healing is not elegant. Christmas approached again. 1 full year since Savannah. Megan called in early December. We're doing Christmas morning at our apartment. 3 kids in 2 bedrooms? We're brave. Or foolish. Both. Mom and Dad are coming Christmas afternoon. You're invited. Thank you. I need to ask you something, and you can say no. That sentence made my throat tighten. Okay. Could you watch the kids for 3 hours on the 26th? Derek and I haven't had dinner alone in 6 months. We'll pay for pizza. We'll be home by 9. I sat quietly. Rachel? I'm here. You can say no. I know. Seriously. I'd love to. Megan went silent. Really? Yes. Why? I laughed. Because you asked. She cried. Don't make this weird. You're crying. Allergies, that's not how. I know. I watched the kids for 3 hours. Megan left emergency contacts. Noah's bedtime routine. Caleb's inhaler instructions. Sophie's favorite show. She kissed me and said, "Thank you." Derek said, "We'll be back at 9. They were back at 8:53. That night mattered because it proved something I had feared was impossible. Boundaries had not made me less generous. They had made generosity mine again. I could say yes without resentment, because no was allowed. The old arrangement was not generosity. It was obligation wearing love's clothes. A year earlier, babysitting 3 children felt like theft because the decision had been made without me. Now I sat on Megan's couch eating popcorn with Caleb, while Sophie painted my nails purple and Noah slept on my chest, and I felt lucky. Choice changes the emotional meaning of almost everything. My relationship with Mom changed slower. She still struggled not to turn my success into family comparison. When I received another promotion, she said, "Well, remember your sister is doing well too." I asked, "Why? Why what? Why does Megan need protection from me being promoted?" Mom stared. "I didn't mean..." "I know. Think about it," she called the next day. I did. And? "I think when you succeed, I worry you'll feel further away. So you shrink it." "Maybe. That makes me feel further away." Long silence. "Okay." 3 days later, she posted my promotion on Facebook without adding anything about Megan. Proud of our oldest girl. I took a screenshot because apparently this was my life now. I sent it to Megan. She replied, "Finally, your golden child era." I wrote, "Don't manifest that." We laughed. Dad adjusted best after his apology. Once he understood I would not rescue him financially, he became weirdly proud of doing things himself. He found a part-time seasonal job at a hardware store because standing short shifts was manageable for his back. The first paycheck was tiny. He called me. "Guess who made $286 this week? Bill Gates?" Smartest. "Proud of you. Bought your mother dinner." Big spender. With my own money. I understood what he meant. Good feeling? Better than I remembered. There was dignity on both sides of dependency once we stopped pretending it had no emotional cost. 2 years after Savannah, I bought a condo in Seattle. 2 bedrooms, big windows, small balcony. I had imagined buying years earlier, but every time my down payment grew, another family emergency ate part of it. This time the savings stayed. When I told Mom, the first thing she said was, "Guest room?" I froze. She laughed. "Kidding." I learned. "Good save. Can I visit?" "Yes." "Do I get a key?" "Absolutely not." Rude. She visited 3 months later, paid for her flight, stayed 4 nights, bought groceries once. I nearly called the local news. We walked through Pike Place Market. She saw my office, met coworkers, sat on my balcony and said, "I think I understand why you stayed out here. You thought I stayed because I hated Florida. Partly. I stayed because I built a life." Mom looked down. "I used to hear that as rejection, I know. I'm sorry. Thank you. Did we really make you feel like your life was less real because you didn't have kids?" I thought about Christmas. "Yes," she cried. "I thought I was joking. Most family cruelty lives inside jokes nobody wants explained. Counselor? Therapist. Expensive? Very." She sighed. "Rachel? Yeah? Are you lonely?" Old question. New tone. Curiosity instead of accusation. "Sometimes." "Do you want kids?" "I don't know." "Okay. That's it?" "I'm practicing." Gold star. "Don't patronize me in your own home." "My home is exactly where I get to patronize you." We laughed. Megan's life stabilized. She eventually became full-time office manager at the dental practice once Noah started preschool. Derek moved into a better position at work. They bought a small townhouse 3 years after Savannah. I gave them a housewarming gift, a good vacuum and a Home Depot card for $200. Not a down payment, not mortgage help. Megan opened the card and said, "200? What happened to rich Aunt Rachel?" I froze. Then she burst out laughing. "Too soon forever?" "Forever." She hugged me. "It's perfect." Later, she pulled me onto the back patio. "I need to tell you something." "Okay. I used to hate you." I blinked. "That's direct." "Not always. Just sometimes." "Why?" "Because Mom talked about you like you escaped." "Escaped what?" "Us." I waited. "When you got into college, everybody celebrated. But afterward, Mom kept saying things like, 'Rachel thinks she's too good for Florida now,' or 'Rachel has big city priorities.' I think I started believing your life was proof mine was smaller." Meg. "Then I had kids, and everyone praised me for building a family. You had a career, and I could pretend that was easier than what I did." She wiped her eyes. "If I admitted your life was hard too, then I had to admit I wasn't entitled to your time just because I had children." "Yeah. And the money, yeah." "I'm sorry for the line about you not having kids. That was from a fight after Christmas when she had told me I could never understand real responsibility. I had almost forgotten. Almost. That one hurt. I know, because I'm not sure whether I'll ever have them." "I know. And being childless doesn't make somebody an extra adult in other people's family. I know that now." "Good." She smiled through tears. "You know what I hate? Many things. I used to think you were the favorite because everyone bragged about your career. You were the favorite because everyone reorganized around you." We stared at each other, then laughed. 2 daughters, both convinced the other had received the better version of the family. That is how favoritism survives. It does not always crown one obvious golden child. Sometimes one child receives praise, and the other receives care, while both quietly starve for what the other got. I had been admired, but used. Megan had been rescued but underestimated. Mom had thought she was loving us according to our needs. She was also assigning identities. Rachel is capable, so Rachel needs nothing. Megan is overwhelmed, so Megan cannot be expected to carry more. Neither of us grew properly inside those roles. I learned not to ask. Megan learned not to solve. Breaking the financial pattern changed both of us. Dad died unexpectedly 4 years after Savannah. A heart attack at 67. That loss changed the shape of everything again. I flew to Florida the same afternoon. No one asked. I wanted to. Mom met me at the hospital and collapsed in my arms. Megan came 10 minutes later. We stood together beside Dad after the machines were quiet. Old family roles returned under grief. Mom could not make decisions. Megan panicked. My brain immediately started organizing. Funeral home, calls, insurance, food. Then I stopped myself. We're doing this together. Megan looked at me. Okay. We divided tasks. She called relatives. I handled funeral arrangements with Mom. Derek managed food. Mom's church helped. Nobody handed me the entire crisis because I was good at crises. At Dad's funeral, the hardware store manager told me how proud Dad was of finally paying his own way again. I cried so hard I had to sit down. There are stories families tell about money that are actually stories about dignity. Dad and I had lost years being angry from opposite sides of the same shame. I was grateful we repaired enough before he died. After the funeral, Mom's finances were frightening but manageable. Her first instinct was old. I don't know how I'll do this alone. My entire body heard. Rachel will fix it. Instead, I said, we'll sit down tomorrow and look at everything. We did. Not pay. Look, Mom had survivor benefits, savings from the villa sales structure, her part-time income, and a mortgage she could manage if she worked another year. She later sold the villa by choice and moved into a smaller condo near Heather, our cousin, not relevant well, near her church and Megan. I did not buy it, did not co-sign. I helped pack. Those distinctions would have sounded cold to the old me. They sounded healthy now. Mom once asked, "Do you ever worry you went too far that Christmas?" We were sitting among boxes after Dad's death. Sometimes. Really? Yeah. What part? Canceling everything before talking to you. She nodded. You were angry. Very. Would you do it differently now? I thought. I might confront you before canceling the trip. You'd still cancel? Absolutely. She laughed. Fair. Do you think I went too far? Mom stared at one of Dad's old baseball caps. At the time, I thought you were destroying us. And now? I think we were already living beyond what we could manage. You just stopped hiding it. That sentence gave me more peace than an apology. I hated you for a while. I know. Not really hate, but you hated what I represented. Yes. Consequences? Change. She smiled sadly. Your father hated change. He did. So do I. I noticed. Smartest. Like Dad. I cried. She held my hand. I am 39 now. The successful older daughter. Still childless. Though that word no longer feels like an accusation. I am engaged to a man named Marcus, a high school history teacher who earns much less than I do and somehow possesses more emotional common sense than everyone I dated before him combined. The first time he met my family, Megan pulled him aside and said, "Do not let Rachel pay for everything." He laughed because he thought she was joking. She said, "I'm serious. We've done enough damage." I wanted to disappear. Marcus later said, "Your sister loves you. She used to use me." Both can be true. That has become the central truth of my family's story. Both can be true. My parents loved me and relied on me in unhealthy ways. Megan loved me and treated my success like communal property. I loved them and enabled the arrangement because being useful felt safer than risking rejection. Dad resented my freedom and was proud of me. Mom manipulated guilt and genuinely believed family sacrifice was love. Megan was entitled and overwhelmed. I was generous and controlling sometimes, because money allowed me to solve problems faster than anyone could disagree with my solution. Nobody gets to be perfectly innocent if the story is honest. But accountability is not about making everyone equally wrong. It is about everyone owning their part. My part was saying yes long after yes became resentment. Their part was treating my yes like something inherited. The Christmas ambush changed us because for the first time, I did not argue about whether their need was legitimate. Maybe Megan genuinely needed a break. Maybe Mom was exhausted. Maybe Dad hated feeling trapped by retirement. Maybe 3 kids are overwhelming. Maybe Savannah would have been beautiful. None of that answered the only question that mattered. Did I agree? For years, my family acted as though love made consent unnecessary. If Rachel loved us, Rachel would help. If Rachel had money, Rachel should share. If Rachel had no children, Rachel had spare time. If Rachel lived far away, she owed more when she came home. If Rachel said no, somebody just needed to remind her how much family had sacrificed until the no softened. That was the system. I broke it with one canceled vacation. Not because canceling a hotel was heroic, because I finally accepted that disappointment would not kill them. Their anger would not kill me. Their bills belonged to the people whose names were on them. Their children belonged to the parents who brought them into the world. Their housing belonged to the adults choosing how to live. Their holiday happiness was not a debt attached to my income. When those things became separate, love had room to become love again. Last Christmas, Megan brought all 3 kids to Seattle. She asked 6 months ahead. She booked their hotel with her own card. I offered my condo. She said, 3 children in your nice condo? I love you too much. Caleb is 13 now. Sophie is 10. Noah is 7. They are loud, funny, expensive, and wonderful. We went to Pike Place, rode the ferry, drank hot chocolate, and opened presents Christmas morning at my place. After lunch, Megan disappeared into the kitchen with Marcus. I found out later she was washing dishes. Without being asked. Historical event. Mom FaceTimed from Florida. We propped her on the counter. She complained Seattle looked cold. It is December, Mom. Florida exists. We know. You could all live here. Megan and I said together, no. Mom laughed. Worth a try. At one point, Caleb asked, Mom, is this the Christmas where Aunt Rachel canceled your trip? Megan nearly inhaled a cookie. Who told you that? Grandma. Of course. Caleb looked at me. Why did you cancel it? The room quieted. Children eventually revisit family history with older brains. Megan and I looked at each other. I said, because the grown-ups planned something using my money and time without asking me. Caleb frowned. That's rude. Yes. Megan said. It was. He looked at his mother. You did that? Yep. Why? Megan thought for several seconds. Because Aunt Rachel always helped, and I got lazy about remembering helping was her choice. I looked at her. She continued. And because I was tired and selfish and thought wanting a break made me entitled to someone else's. Caleb nodded like this was simple. Did you apologize? Eventually. How long? Too long. That's awkward. Deeply. Then Noah asked whether we could have ice cream, and the family history lesson ended. That night after the kids slept, Megan and I sat on my balcony, wrapped in blankets. Do you know Mom still tells the Savannah story like you staged a military coup? I assume. She says, Rachel canceled Christmas and saved us from ourselves. That is offensively dramatic. She's Mom. True. Megan looked through the glass at her children sleeping across my living room. You know what scares me? What? How close I came to doing the same thing to Caleb. What thing? He's responsible. Sophie is emotional. Noah is chaos. Accurate. I started making Caleb help because he was the easy one. My chest tightened. Megan. I know. How much? Little stuff. Watch Noah. Help Sophie. Get snacks. Keep them quiet. Then one day he said, why am I always the extra parent? I closed my eyes. Wow. Yeah. What did you do? Apologized. Changed it. She smiled. Apparently trauma can become wisdom if you're annoying enough about therapy. You're welcome. Don't take credit. Too late. We laughed. That conversation may be the most satisfying outcome of everything. Not the canceled vacation. Not the smaller house. Not Mom learning to budget. Not my condo. The fact that one family pattern stopped before reaching another child. Caleb will not become Rachel just because he is capable. Sophie will not become Megan just because she needs reassurance. That is what change is supposed to do. It travels forward. People sometimes ask whether I regret not simply babysitting that Christmas and confronting them later. Honestly, part of me does. The children were disappointed. Everyone was humiliated. I was furious, and probably enjoyed the shock more than I would like to admit. But I do not regret saying no. There are moments when a family system becomes so comfortable with your surrender that a polite boundary sounds like betrayal. You can whisper no 50 times, and nobody hears it because they are already planning around your eventual yes. Sometimes the first boundary people respect is the one that costs them something. That does not mean you should hurt people for drama. It means consequences often communicate what explanations cannot. I had explained my exhaustion for years. I'm trying to save. I'm tired. Work is intense. I can't keep covering this. Please ask before using the card. I need more notice. Every sentence entered the family machine and emerged softer. Rachel's stressed, but she'll help. Rachel complains, but she always comes through. Rachel needs to vent. Rachel doesn't mean no. Canceling Savannah was the first time no remained no after everybody became unhappy. That was the actual turning point. I also no longer believe being the strong one is automatically praise. Sometimes strong means safe to neglect. Responsible means safe to burden. Successful means safe to bill. Independent means safe to exclude. Easygoing means safe to ignore. Families can turn your best qualities into reasons you deserve less care if you do not notice. Self-worth means noticing. It means understanding your usefulness is not the admission price for belonging. You do not have to pay the mortgage to earn a seat at Christmas. You do not have to babysit to prove you love your nieces. You do not have to absorb everybody's emergencies because your paycheck has more zeros. You do not have to stay unmarried, available, successful, quiet, organized, generous, or endlessly forgiving to remain somebody's daughter or sister. And the people who truly love you may hate your boundary at first. They may call it selfish. They may tell relatives. They may accuse you of changing. Sometimes they will change too. Sometimes they will not. The boundary is still valid either way because its purpose is not to teach them a lesson. Its purpose is to protect the life on your side of it. My father died knowing we had repaired ours. My mother visits me without asking about my salary. Megan borrows my sweaters instead of my credit score. My nieces and nephews know Aunt Rachel as the woman who gives them books, takes them exploring, tells embarrassing stories about their mother, and sometimes says no. Especially sometimes says no. And strangely, the more I stopped being their safety net, the more I became their actual sister and aunt again. I was no longer the emergency account with a birthday. I was a person. That was all I had wanted from the beginning. So here is the question I would ask anyone listening, because my extended family still disagrees about it. If you flew across the country for Christmas and discovered your parents and sibling had secretly used your money to book themselves a 5-night vacation while assuming you would stay behind as unpaid childcare, and this came after years of you covering their mortgage, cars, groceries, and emergencies, would you cancel the trip and cut off the financial support immediately like I did? Or would you watch the kids one final time because they are innocent and wait until after Christmas to draw the line?